Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about 8 things you should never do when you're negotiating a property purchase. Now make sure you stay tuned to the very end of this video, because once you've heard these 8 points, I guarantee you'll be able to save yourself at least 4, if not 5 figures on your very next property purchase. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Marco. I'm a portfolio landlord, property investor, developer and mentor, and I'm very passionate about helping people invest in property. Okay, so let's get into it. So number 1, and this is probably the most obvious tip, which is never reveal your budget. Never reveal how much you're willing to pay for that particular property. Now the agent may ask you this question. The seller of the property again may ask you this question. Don't feel that you need to answer. Just say you need to think about it. Because obviously if they know your budget and how much you're willing to pay for that property, well guess what? They're probably going to bid you up to that particular price. Number 2 is don't talk too much. Again, when you're viewing a property, the agent's going to be asking you lots of questions. If the seller or the vendor is conducting that viewing, again, they're probably going to be asking you lots of questions. Don't feel you need to answer those questions. If anything, you should be the one asking questions and listen more. A nice rule I tend to follow is talk less and listen more, especially when you're negotiating and viewing property. Because if you're actually listening and properly listening, actively listening to what the other side has to say, you're probably going to uncover the reason why they're selling and maybe some golden nuggets and black swans. And once you know this information, maybe it will give you a bit more bargaining power. So talk less and listen more. Number 3 is don't be unfriendly. I see it time and time again. You know, old school investors, they show up, they don't try and build rapport with the agent, they knock down the property and they're quite unfriendly, they're rude and they're arrogant. Well, this is going to get you nowhere in life, especially in property. Property is all about people. So let's do the opposite. Let's be friendly. Let's try and build a relationship with the agent. Let's try and build a relationship with the person, the seller, the vendor selling that property. So don't be unfriendly, be friendly, build that relationship and build that rapport, because the better your relationship, the more discount you can command. Number 4, really important one, is don't show that you're too keen. So, you know, don't be emailing back the agent 1 minute after they've sent you an email. You know, don't be picking up the phone straight away every time they give you a call. Don't be too keen. Take your time, slow down, relax, enjoy the process, because if you show the other side that you are too keen, the other side obviously knows that you really want the property. So guess what's going to happen? They're going to be rejecting your offers. And when they're countering your offers, maybe they're doing a higher counter than what they otherwise would have done. Now, a little tip here, don't be too keen, but actually have zero interest in the property. In negotiations, those that care less win, and it is true. So try not to care about it. I know it's easier said than done, especially if it's your own home you're negotiating. But if it's an investment property, do not care about it. It's just a numbers game. The next one will come up if this offer doesn't work for you. Okay, I think we're number 5 now, which is don't go back on your word. Again, property is all about people. And if you give your word to an agent or to a seller, stick to it unless something serious has changed. So, you know, if you said you were going to offer X, well, follow through on that deal, providing as nothing has changed, because your word is your reputation. And if your reputation is tarnished, especially in property, well, no agent's going to go near you, no seller's going to want to be doing business with you. So your word is absolutely crucial and key in property. Be a man or woman of your word, and that will go a hell of a long way to building relationships with agents, with vendors and with sellers. So number 6 is don't make these decisions and these negotiation decisions when you are tired, because when you're tired, maybe later on in the day after a hard day of work, you're more likely to give in to what the other side wants. So you want to be playing the game in your side of the court. You know, you want to be making these decisions when you're fresh and when your mind is at its best. So you know what? If the agent's pushing you for an answer by 4 p.m. and you're absolutely exhausted, you've had a really hard day at work, just say, I'll get back to you in the morning. And this will give you time to think about things and you'll be able to make a decision when you're not pressured and when you have larger mental capacity. Okay, so number 7, the penultimate tip, really important one when negotiating, especially in property, and that's don't give in to deadlines. So, you know, the agent or the other side may be saying, well, get your best and final offer in by Wednesday, 12 o'clock, whatever it is. Now, yes, some of the times they'll actually mean it. And some of the times, you know, they actually will want that offer in by that date and they'll cut it off, especially for properties that are in really high demand. But I don't like to play this game. I like to move things to my side of the court. I'll be putting forward offers when I think is best. And when that is best is all down to the type of environment that you're buying in and the property itself. So yes, you will lose a few offers by following this rule, But if you put deadlines in your side of the court, I guarantee you'll be more successful in your property acquisitions in the long run. Now, the last thing you should never do when you're negotiating a property purchase, and it's also the title of a very good negotiation book that I highly recommend, is never split the difference. And let's give a very good example to detail this. So let's say there's a property and the seller wants £200,000 for the property, but let's say you want it for £160,000, okay? Now you could say to the seller, right, well, let's split the difference, let's meet in the middle at a £180,000. Or what you could say is, let's do this, I'll give you £170,000 for the property, and that's the second offer because we've already submitted the first offer at £160,000. Well, maybe the seller's actually happy with this, but maybe they come back and they just want to squeeze an extra £5,000 out of you. So they come back and say, right, well, let's go for £175,000. You can either accept that, in which case you've saved £5,000 off splitting the difference, or again, you can stick to your guns and, you know, go for £170,000. So this is why you should never split the difference, because generally speaking, there's always more on the table, and you want to anchor your opponent. So again, here's a bonus tip that I haven't included in this video, but it's all about anchoring. So whatever your first offer is, you need to anchor it really low or really high, depending if you're the buyer or the seller. And then any point you move from that anchors is seen as a really positive step. So if you're buying a property, you're going in with a really low offer, could even be an insulting offer or borderline insulting, you have anchored your opponent, and every step from there is seen in a positive frame. And again, a nice little example I like to give is people see things in relative terms. So, you know, if you're looking at base rates and looking at the past year, well, of course they're really expensive because the base rate was near zero. But actually, if you're taking a longer term view, a 50-year average, the base rate now is very, very cheap. So it's all about being relative. If you're going in with a low offer and your follow-up offer is much higher, it's seen in a much more positive light. Now, maybe I'll do another video all about anchoring in property negotiation if there's a demand for it. So if there is, please do let me know. So they're the 8 tips to help you negotiate a property purchase and to save 4, if not 5 figures on your very next property acquisition. I'm just going to summarize these tips for you now. So first of all, we've got never reveal your budget. Second, don't talk too much. If anything, listen more. Third of all, we've got don't be unfriendly. You want to be friendly and build that rapport and relationship. 4th, we've got don't show that you're too keen. 5, don't go back on your word, be a man or woman of your word. 6 is don't make these decisions when you're tired, wait until you're fresh. 7, which is don't give in to deadlines. And the last one, as we just explained, never split the difference. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you're looking for help, especially when it comes to negotiating and buying property at very good discounts, please do contact me. Head to ms7.uk, the link is in the description, book a call with me. You know, I'm very passionate about coaching and mentoring my clients to achieve really good property acquisitions and save thousands and tens of thousands of pounds on their next property purchase. Because what this means is, as soon as that property purchase is completed, they have significant equity in the property from day one. Thanks very much for watching. As my regular subscribers know, we're on the road at the moment, we're in the car, I'm just in between meetings. The house is currently being refurbed, we're nearly there. We've got the flooring guys in today, sanding from top to bottom, so it's very, very loud, dusty and noisy in the house. So I just thought I'd film this video in the car in between a couple of meetings. I'm looking forward to getting back into the study, getting the guests, the really good speakers that I've got lined up to come on the channel to share their property wisdom with us all. All the very best with your property investing day. Goodbye.